Welcome back, everybody. We're going to dive into something kind of brilliant today. Literally,
Yeah.
you guys shared some interest in Holidynamics and their dynamic RGB C9 bulbs, so we thought, why not brighten things up?
And before we even get started, we always love recommendations from you guys. So let us know in the comments if there's a company or even just like a product you'd want us to deep dive into next.
Exactly. We're all about kind of tailoring these deep dives to what you guys want to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to those Holidynamics bulbs.
Yeah.
For anyone who's not familiar, C9s are those big faceted bulbs you often see for outdoor decorating.
Mm-hmm.
Think like classic Christmas lights, but with a modern twist.
Yeah. And one of the things that makes these dynamic RGB bulbs so popular is the warm white option.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What's so special about a warm white setting on a color-changing bulb?
Well, think about it. The vast majority of permanent holiday light installations you see are in warm white.
Right.
It's that classic inviting glow that people associate with the holidays. So by offering a warm white option in their dynamic RGB line, Holidynamics has basically created a bulb that can seamlessly blend into those existing setups, but also offer the possibility of vibrant colors.
So it's like having the best of both worlds. You can go traditional for the holidays, but then switch things up for like a birthday party or Halloween or, any celebration.
Exactly. And when you think about it from a consumer perspective, that versatility is a huge selling point.
Right.
It eliminates the need to buy separate sets of lights for different occasions, saves money and storage space.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's practical. And it caters to that desire for customization we all seem to have these days.
For sure, for sure.
Speaking of customization, let's talk control.
Yeah.
The standard controller that comes with the Holidynamic system can handle up to 100 bulbs,
Mm-hmm.
which is perfect for most residential setups.
Yeah, 100 bulbs is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'm picturing outlining a whole house with that many.
But what if you're thinking bigger?
Yeah.
Say, decorating a whole block for the holidays.
Well, for those larger scale installations, Holidynamics offers a commercial grade controller that can handle up to 500 bulbs.
Wow.
So whether you're decking out your home or planning a truly spectacular light display, they've got you covered.
That's incredible, 500 bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of lights.
That's a lot of lights.
All right, so
Huh.
that's kind of crazy. I mean, that's a lot of lights for one controller.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
But going back to like the average homeowner for a second,
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the things that always frustrates me with holiday lights is ending up with like a tangled mess of extension cords.
Right. Yeah, and that's another area where Holidynamics has really thought things through. They offer C9 socket wire in bulk,
Okay.
which allows you to create custom length light runs.
So you're not limited by preset lengths
Nope.
or forced to use a bunch of extension cords.
Exactly. You can create a display that fits your space perfectly with no wasted lights or unsightly cords.
I see the appeal in that it's all about that clean, professional look.
Hmm.
Is there anything else about these bulbs that makes them stand out? I mean, beyond the color options and the warm white setting, of course.
Well, they've actually developed a whole system called Light Hub that takes customization to a whole new level.
Okay, I have all ears. What's Light Hub all about?
Essentially, it allows you to incorporate other types of lights onto the same C9 cord as your dynamic RGB bulbs.
Wait, so you're telling me I could mix and match different kinds of lights on a single strand?
That's right. You could have your dynamic RGB C9 bulbs for color, and then integrate things like static 5mm LED string lights or even icicle drops.
That opens up a whole world of design possibilities.
Yeah.
I'm picturing a roof line with C9 bulbs outlining the edges and then cascading icicle lights underneath.
Exactly. Or imagine using the C9 bulbs to highlight architectural features on your house, and then using the 5mm lights to fill in the spaces between.
It's like having a professional lighting designer's toolkit right at your fingertips.
And that's really the beauty of the Light Hub system. It gives you that level of control and flexibility without needing any specialized knowledge or equipment.
You know, when you first mentioned the warm white setting, I thought it was a small detail.
Yeah.
But the more we talk about these bulbs, the more I realize that it's these seemingly small details that really set them apart.
I think you're right. It's those thoughtful touches that elevate a product from good to great.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed with these Holidynamics bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
They've clearly put a lot of thought into both the functionality and the aesthetics.
Yeah, and they haven't forgotten about practicality either.
Yeah.
We talked about the custom length cords, but they also offer both 25 bulb packs and massive 500 bulb packs for larger projects.
So they've got you covered whether you're decorating a single tree or an entire theme park.
That's right.
That's amazing.
And don't forget about the energy efficiency of LED technology. These bulbs only consume 1 watt of power each.
Oh, wow. That's a nice bonus.
Yeah,
You can have a dazzling display without worrying about a huge electricity bill.
exactly. And speaking of dazzling displays, we haven't even talked about all the color options and lighting effects yet.
Right. I'm ready for the grand finale. Tell me everything. What kind of light show are we talking about here?
We've got your standard red, green, and blue, of course, but you also have yellow, purple, teal, pure white, and even a multicolor mode. As for the effects, there's steady, color-changing jump, fade, chase, and a flashing white mode.
Wow, that's a lot to play around with.
It is.
No wonder they call them dynamic RGB bulbs.
Yeah.
I'm picturing everything from a subtle twinkling effect to like a full-blown disco party.
The possibilities are truly endless, and it's all controlled with a dedicated remote, which is sold separately.
Okay.
You'll also need a coaxial converter cable to connect everything.
So there are a couple of extra components to keep in mind, but it sounds like the payoff in terms of creativity and control is well worth it.
I think so, too. Holidynamics has managed to create a system that's both sophisticated and user-friendly, which is no easy feat.
Before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the warranty.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading that there's a limitation on how many days per year you can use the bulbs.
You're right, the warranty is only valid for 90 days of use per year. It's an important detail to consider, especially if you're thinking about using these bulbs for something beyond traditional holiday decorating.
Yeah, it does suggest that these bulbs are primarily designed for seasonal use.
Right.
But I guess that makes sense given their focus on holiday lighting.
That's true, but it also raises an interesting question. What other applications could you see these bulbs being used for? Could you imagine them being incorporated into event design, architectural lighting, or even art installations?
That's a good one. Now you've got me thinking. I could definitely see these bulbs being used to create some really unique and dynamic effects in those contexts.
Yeah,
It's all about thinking outside the box, right?
absolutely. And that's what we encourage you to do. Don't limit yourself to the obvious applications. Let your imagination run wild and see where it takes you.
We've really dug into these dynamic RGB C9 bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say I'm pretty blown away by their versatility.
It's been an interesting exploration, hasn't it? What started as a seemingly simple holiday light has turned into this deep dive into customization technology and even a touch of design philosophy.
You're right. A lot of listeners might have tuned in thinking, okay, it's a light bulb. How complex can it be? But as we've uncovered, there's a lot more to consider than meets the eye.
Exactly. And I think that speaks to a larger point about how technology is changing even the most traditional aspects of our lives. We're seeing it everywhere, from kitchen appliances to, well, holiday lights.
That's a great observation. It's like even those things we consider to be classic or timeless are being reimagined and enhanced through technology.
And what's fascinating is how these advancements often blend seamlessly into our lives. Think about how quickly we've adapted to smart home technology, for example. It's become so commonplace that we hardly even notice it anymore.
And yet it's fundamentally changed the way we interact with our homes. I think these Holidynamics bulbs are a perfect example of that. They take something familiar and add a layer of intelligence and adaptability that opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
It's like the difference between passively observing something and actively shaping it with these bulbs. You're not just decorating your house, you're creating an experience. You're becoming a lighting designer, in a sense.
I love that analogy, and I think that's what makes this technology so exciting. It empowers people to be more creative and expressive in their own spaces.
And it challenges us to rethink our assumptions about what's possible. Who would have thought that a simple string of holiday lights could spark a conversation about design technology and the evolving relationship between humans and light?
It's proof that inspiration can be found in the most unexpected places.
Mm.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought. Don't underestimate the power of small innovations.
Mm-hmm.
They have the potential to transform not just objects, but entire experiences.
And who knows, maybe that seemingly simple idea you have could be the next big thing. Keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep sharing your discoveries with the world.
That's perfect advice. Thank you so much for joining us on this illuminating journey. We hope you've enjoyed the deep dive and learned a thing or two along the way. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.